Good evening, my lovely little circle. It has been ages since I've come in here live. Let me just make sure that this is streaming into the group and not on my on my profile. There we go. Yes. So I did go live earlier today as I was walking back home after going into town to have my mammogram. Just something we all need to check. And I mentioned in that live a particular story about how breathwork came to my rescue, and I thought, you're my clan, you're my tribe. I need to share this story with you. It has been a couple of weeks, so I can now look back on it and smile and see the funny side, but I must tell you that at the time it just wasn't very nice at all. So I went out to visit a friend of mine who is amazing, a drawing and talk therapist, and she is wanting to try out her 12-week program that she currently offers for children. She wants to see if adults would get anything from it, so I'm one of her lovely guinea pigs. Had an amazing session, said goodbye, got in my car, turned the ignition on, and all the lights come on, and then all the lights go off, apart from one, and it was the little orange engine light that indicated that something wasn't quite right with my engine. But I didn't think too much about it because I was still driving, I could steer. And as I was making my way out of her little housing estate, I suddenly noticed that actually I wasn't getting any acceleration here. I was still on kind of like a first gear 5 miles an hour speed, and I thought, this isn't good. When I put my foot down on the accelerator, it didn't rev. The engines didn't rev. So I turned the engine off, and I thought, okay, give it a minute, turn it on again. Still nothing. So I turn it off, put my hazard lights on, take a breath and think, what do I do? Now, I have an amazing brother. He's a couple of years younger than me. Now, isn't always amazing. He used to be a bit of a pain in the arse, but he left school and he did a plant mechanics course up in Norfolk. So whenever I have anything the matter with my car, he's the one I turn to. So I phoned him up and said, what is this? What is happening? He went through a few things, asked me whether the engine was actually turning over, whether the car was moving, all this sort of thing. Yeah. And he said, okay, make your way home. I will then get to you after I finish work, and I'll bring my little diagnostic machine. The car won't explode. It's just put in there's something in the sensors that's putting it into limp mode. Who knew? A car has a limp mode. So anyway, it allows you to limp your way home, moving very, very slowly without revving the engine. I said sometimes it's caused by, misfires or anything. So anyway, I said, okay, as long as you're sure. I then phoned my darling husband and told him what was happening and said, I'm making my way home. We have a sat-nav app. All of the family have it. It's called Waze. It's absolutely amazing. But you can share your drive with your family members or with whoever you want to. So I put that up on and I shared my journey. Now, I was outside of Salisbury in a place called Lark Hill, about a 18-20 minute journey. Have to go down, cut through the 303 and join my A30 all the way home into Salisbury. So it's not a hugely busy road, brilliant, and it's fairly straight as well, so ideal, not going through major towns or any other villages. Okay, so there I am in my car, really painfully. On the flats, I could actually go up the gears, and at one stage I got as fast as 12 miles an hour. Whoa, amazing. But although Salisbury is on Salisbury Plain, you'd imagine that to be a fairly flat space of land. And don't get me wrong, there are flat spaces of land. This journey home had some quite steep inclines. It's quite hilly. I would have to use my gears to make it up those hills. And in some of those hills, I was travelling at 4 miles an hour. Now, I had my hazard lights on. They were blinking. They were warning everyone around me that this car was not right. It was moving, but there was something the matter. I was hobbling my way back home to safety. It was fine until I got to the 303. There's a roundabout that crosses the busy 303 that goes east to west, and then you head into Salisbury on the A360. That's when the traffic starts to build up behind me. I kept myself as close to the side of the road as I could, because they are country roads. Some of the side of the roads were quite cavernous ditches. Kept looking behind me. Oh my gosh, the queue is growing. I would manage to get up to 8 miles an hour, and then I would slow back down to 4. I would keep myself over to allow people to overtake me. And if you were behind me, you had to overtake, even on the no overtaking double lines, because you couldn't be behind me and go at that speed. That just wasn't acceptable. And there weren't that many cars coming forward. There were places, but a journey that should have taken 18 minutes took well over half an hour, close to 40 minutes. At one stage, my poor husband was panicked because he looked at the Waze app, and as far as he was concerned, I had broken down. I had stopped moving. My little car indicator on his app hadn't moved for ages. Oh, my giddy aunt, she's broken down somewhere and she's in a dead zone where we can't get the mobile phones. And he, like the knight in shining armour that he is, he put his shoes on, he got in his car and he drove out to rescue me. I hadn't broken down. What he did see, he saw me with the most humongous line of traffic behind me, waiting to get past me. And the poor bloke, what did he have to do? He had to join behind me. So he had to get in the end of my massive queue. So why am I telling you all of this? Well, as you can imagine, I did make it home. In fact, the car is sat outside and I've got a little diagnostic and it needs a bit of tweaking, and I will get it fixed, I promise. But it's still, that there's ways around it. Anyway, why am I telling you this? Because to be able to get from Lark Hill to my home in Salisbury, I needed to be doing the breath work. if I didn't want to have an all-out massive panic attack, I needed to breathe through this situation. I could feel as I was edging my way towards my home along that hugely long, arduous road. My heart was pounding. I was beetroot red faced. I was shaking because I was aware of what a hazard and what an inconvenience I was being to every other motorist on the road. I was also scared that my poor little car, as it was making its way up the hills at 4 miles an hour, would actually slow down to 3, slow down to 2. Oh my God, was the car going to stop? It didn't. But that was going in my head. So as you can imagine, my cortisol levels in my body, it was just flooded. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. And I promise you, the only reason I got through it and I didn't just stop the car and have a full out panic attack was breathing. Now, why did breathing help? Well, I've been trained. I am an expert. I know that you can do various breathing techniques to change your chemical levels, change your hormones that are flooding your system. I know that to balance yourself out, you need to do a balanced breath, inhaling a certain number, exhaling a certain number, whatever you need to do for your own. We all have different levels of tolerance and how long we can breathe for. To get my cortisol levels down, I needed to flip that switch so that my body wasn't as stressed out, so that it stopped sending out cortisol and getting me heightened, and start reducing those levels in my body and start easing out the calm, helping me with a bit of more balance and then a definite calmer side. And how did I do that? I extended my exhale. There is a technique that I teach my clients. Really simple. It's called a cadence technique, slow cadence. So you start off breathing in, okay, let's say for 3, and then you breathe out for 4. You do that 5 times. And then you breathe in for 3, you breathe out for 5 times. Breathe in for 3, breathe out for 6, 5 times. Or perhaps you breathe in for 4, and you breathe out for 5 times. You breathe in for 4, you breathe out for 6. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 7. Breathe in for 4, breathe out for 8. You see, however long you want to breathe in for, you've just got to make that exhale a little bit longer. And that's what I want to do with you today. Okay, so what we're going to do, because I don't know what your medical conditions are and how you find breathing, I'm going to start with a nice safe one of starting with inhaling for the count of 3. Then we're going to exhale for the count of 4. Okay, it really helps your focus and it helps to lower those cortisol levels. And we're going to do that for the count of 5. Why 5? Because I can mark them off with my fingers. Okay, up here for thinking, down there for dancing. Okay, so let's do this together. We're going to breathe in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4. Last one. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3, 4. How's that feeling? Okay. Now we're going to move up to breathing in for the count of 3, breathing out for the count of 5. So we're just extending that exhale for just a little longer, just an extra second. Okay. So we're going to breathe in, 2, 3, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. Breathe in, 2, 3, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that breath is telling our system to just, we don't need the cortisol anymore, and we're nice and relaxed. And if it wasn't for that breath, that technique, that pattern, I would have had a panic attack when my car was limping its way from a village outside of Salisbury to my home address. It saved me. And you can all do it. And in fact, the same with all of these that I put in the group. Once you learn it, I want you to practice it a lot. I want you to practice it when you're waiting for the kettle to boil. I want you to practice it when you're driving down into town, when you're looking for a parking space, when you're waiting for the bus, when you're waiting in a Tesco queue, waiting to pay for your groceries. As often as you can, practice these techniques so that when you are in a situation where your cortisol is really high and you're not thinking straight and you're on the verge of panic attack, the breath can save you because it's automatic. It's like a muscle memory. Your body will know that's what it needs to do. Okay? So as always, if you've got any questions, just pop them in the comments. I'm here to help. I want to spread this amazing breath work to the whole world because you all deserve it. And it's free. I mean, crumbs, we all breathe, right? But let's make sure our breathing is working for us. Okay. So thanks for watching. Look after yourselves. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.